Hello everyone and welcome to the 2020 edition of the IVRC Indy 250. We are racing here today, of course, at the famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway. My name is Constantin Grimminger and I'm excited to take you through this one. First time racing here, the OWC Championship at the Indy circuit, of course. And we are straight into the qualifying session. We are watching Martinas Jurgevicius on his first run. He's the first car on track and it's a private qualifying, so please don't wonder if you see one car at a time on track, but we try to keep it fair here at the administration team, and we will see what he does in a moment's time in his first lap. But we will also jump straight to Sven Geelhout, who's one of the major favorites for this race, and here come the first few times. Holohan ahead of Jurgevicius, which is quite surprising if you follow us regularly. But here we go, and Sven Geelhout is now about to finish his first lap, and he's gonna be in first, of course, as well. 49.1. That's a brilliant time considering that he doesn't have any slipstream. And Moises Reyes goes even quicker in the Rotaros Racing Team car, and Joe Gastide is also quicker. All drivers have 4 laps during the qualifying session that they can do, otherwise they are basically out of competition. And we are watching Moises Reyes, who's going around the circuit right now at this very moment, who's on provisional pole position. But see, Joe Gastide is actually on a quicker lap than Sven Geelhout. Pounces back in qualifying. He's 0.2 of a second faster around the oval here. Joe Gastide is on home soil, the American in P3. He was trying to improve his own lap time. Can he do it? Yes, he can, and he jumps into second, making it a 1-2 for FRA Sim Racing at the moment for the Swedish team here. And Joe Gastide is heavily into the wall. That will certainly mean no improvement for him this lap by. And let's see if anyone else is able to pounce back. Jonathan Holohan already back in the pits. Martin Jacek now up into 5th. He's done his first lap, I think. And so did Martin Jurgevicius coming back into the pits. So that's his qualifying done as well. Philip Folland into 7th. And Laszlo Teglas, the Hungarian, in 8th. It looks a little bit slow from this angle, but I think it's just saving tires. Coming back to the pits. Who knows? Strategy might vary a little bit around this qualifying session. Moises Reyes into the pits, as is Joe Gastide, as is Sven Geelhout. So their qualifying sessions are over. And I'd say the gap between Geelhout and Gastide is absolutely minimal at this point. Just 0.77 of a second. That's less than a blink of an eye between them. And let's see if anyone else is still on track. Martin Jacek coming into the pits. Jonathan Sperto jumped into 6th, but has been beaten by... who is it? Pablo Lopez into 3rd, jumping straight out in his first lap that he did. And I was reading stuff wrong right there. No, I actually did that right. The gap between P1 and P2 for the moment. But basically it. And Pablo Lopez trying to improve his lap time once again. He's looking good. He's even looking faster than P1 at the moment. If he can keep it clean, that will surely mean an improvement for him. Can he make it around the last corner? It nearly does a Townsend Bell into the wall at the exit of turn 4. But does that mean any harm? It most likely did. But is he... no, it doesn't. He beats Sven Geelhout for provisional pole position at this point. And remember, Sven Geelhout is already done with his run. But that means, for the moment, Pablo Lopez takes over first at this point. And meanwhile, Lucas Miranda moved up into 5th, but has also been beaten by... Thomas Raschke is now into 1st. That's surprising. The German, the Bavarian to be precise, in 1st for T-Force Racing it is, and he's been he did a 41.5 seconds lap. That's superbly quick, and I think he's already done. He's already given up this lap as well. He's returning to the pits after such a brilliant lap time. He's nearly 1.5 tenths faster than his opponents. That's basically a benchmark you have to beat. I wanted to speak about Miranda first, but he's been beaten as well into 8th, and here's Jose Miguel Moronta, in 8th actually, in his very interesting car. It's a one-off. He's one of our main commentators regularly, but he's now racing today. And Felipe Muniz has moved up into 4th in his first lap. It was, if I'm not completely wrong. Yes, looks like it, and he's going for another attempt right into turn 3. Very tricky on the turn in, and it's definitely not helping that he's minimized OBS. Thanks, Carlos. I did. So basically, it's a little bit confusion going on apparently about the stream. But let's go back to the racing action. Have you seen anyone else improving? No, we haven't. But so we were racing with Felipe Muniz for basically a lap. So let's go back. Pedro Lopez, the current championship leader, only in 6th. That will surely not mean the best for him. And he's already given up his run as well. He's returning to the pits this lap. Gustavo Brzezinski, his teammate, also coming back to the pits in the wrong pit entry. That's very interesting. Guess race control will have a look at that later on. Jose Miguel Morante has been demoted by 2 positions into 10th right now. Jonathan Holohan into 11th. Bernard Roos also just in 12th. He's been an oval expert at the previous edition as another community in this one. But that means, we've seen another improvement for P10. Richard Warners moves up into P10, the Dutchman, one of the 2 Dutchmen around this track for today. And he's been very rapid in testing as well, but that doesn't look like he's going to improve any further. Of course, Dutch people have quite a history around the real event, the Indy 500, of course. But this is the IVRC Indy 250, and we have 3 minutes on the clock remaining, which means that basically most of the drivers should have been done at this point. Let's quickly go through the order. If there's anyone who still can improve, Anthony Lara, he's been able to set a lap time, if I'm not completely wrong, before. But let's see. If he does, no, he doesn't improve. He improves himself, but he doesn't improve on positions. Actually, lost one. Who is it? Yeah. Good afternoon to you as well, John McDonald in 9th. Good afternoon to you as well, Felipe Granado in the chat. John McDonald improving into 2nd. That's a benchmark as well. Quite surprising, but he said that he's going to be able to bounce back on ovals, and he surely makes a surprising statement with that. No, I think not everyone... Where's he gone? Okay. Returning back to the grid very rapidly. I haven't seen that before in a while. Perhaps he lost his connection or anything like it. Andre Leiter still going around in 7th at this point. And... apparently, Thomas Raschke lets his lap being removed, so that means he lets go of pole position, which basically promotes, who was it in P2, John McDonald, into provisional pole position. That's very interesting. I wonder why. While we see some shenanigans going on in the timing on the left, but we see also just 51 seconds remaining on the clock. That means that most of the times are done. Basically, Carlos Mendes hasn't set a lap time yet. Andrei Djukanovic making his debut for FRA Sim Racing as well. Another Swedish driver racing for FRA, as I said before. He's teammate of one of the championship contenders, and he moves up into P20. Yes, Alfie, this is qualifying. You're absolutely correct. Why are you not racing today, by the way? Very odd to see. You should be on there as well. Djukanovic in P20 now, and it looks like it's going to improve even further. If he's going to finish by the gap that he has right now, 4/10 of a second, that means he'll easily go into P12 by that point. That means he'll move up 8 positions, but there has been some lag involved. Very unfortunate, but I don't think that hinders him too much. He stays out of the wall at the exit of turn 4, and he crosses the finish line in P11, that is, on debut for him. Also very good lap time, 41.954, and the lap time is done. The laps are done, the time is done, I mean, and that means that basically everyone is already finished with their runs, unless I overlooked someone. Pablo Lopez without a time, that's interesting. Saudius Lanis is also without time, so we have quite a lot of drivers without time, and kind of odd, but okay. Alf, it's unfortunate that you're busy. Would be cool to see you going around here as well, as I think it would be good on all of us. But yeah, that basically means all drivers are done, and we have our grid completed for Andrzej Dukanovic stalling it on the main straight. That's odd as well. Yeah, that also means we have our order for the race, and Dukanovic disqualified. That's unfortunate, but he apparently did more than 4 laps, which has been declared in the briefing. You are not allowed to do more than 4 laps, otherwise you will be removed by the game or disqualified automatically. So it looks like with the lap of Thomas Raschke removed, we will see an Aussie on pole position for the race. Very interesting, and it's gonna be a good race for sure. We are now in the warm-up session, which means that I'll leave you alone with the countdown for another split second and then come back to you as soon as the racing action is about to start. Okay, people, we are back in the warm-up session with only 20 minutes of plenty of minutes to go, few minutes to go, until we go back to the racing action. We're seeing P3 on the grid, Sven Gaylord practicing pit entry. And yeah, it's going to be a very exciting one for sure, as we will see the number 41 Kanga Racing machinery of John McDonald on the pole position. And gotta say, I haven't expected that, but here we are, and it's surely a very interesting selection after qualifying, considering that we've seen people out of their usual positions, just to say the least, in terms of course, like the, I think championship leader Pedro Lopez. I have to mix that up, right? It's way out of position as well, and he will surely try everything to bounce back in slipstream, but qualifying show that he's not on pace compared to the road courses today, and we can see Karl Magnus Borre now driving. Apparently his issues have been solved, which is very good, and yes, he's also very speedy in the sole lap, and he's been chased by some MPG competition car right there. That must have been Philip Volland in the number 13 O'Toole MPG competition entry. And yes, that means that everyone's still, of course, trying to get as much practice as possible during the warm-up and try to see where their racecraft is going. Gustavo Brusensky trying to defend for one of his Brazilian countrymen, but of course not teammates, as Brusensky is racing for Bravo Racing Team, and the other car is definitely racing for OS Front Row. Sorry that I don't know which one it is. We'll see. Lucas Miranda has been superbly quick in LMP2 in our WEC, and he's also scored some very good results so far. I think his best position was a 5th in Sonoma. Right, that's absolutely correct. For once I stand correct about that, and we can see these guys also practicing slipstream, and it's going to be a slipstream festival around here. It's quite strong in this mod, which is very good because it provides some good racing as well. We just saw the glimpse of Pedro Lopez at the bottom of your screen right there. And yes, speaking about championship results or standings, Pedro Lopez, of course, in first, the Brazilian. Then we have Pablo Lopez, the Spaniard, in second. Quite a long way down the road. Oof, that has been close with, I think it must have been Saulius Laurinavicius as Brusensky tries to... Whoa, there's a car standing on the main start-finish straight. That's not very good, is it? I wonder how it got there, or if it has been removed as well. No, it's just standing there and waiting for whatever better days. Diogo Tenan is also making his... Ooh, Jesus Christ. He's making his debut today for this newly inscribed Team 5-Star Racing, which feature him and some other drivers, including another American. Sorry if I say your name wrong, but I'm quite sure it is Blake Warren. Yes, it is. Blake Warren, also another American. So we have 2 American drivers on the track, which are, of course, Joe Titus and Blake Warren. They surely try everything to impress on home soil as well. Of course, it's one of the most important races of the American racing scene, and it's gonna be a good one, of course, for them as well, just to have a good result. So let's see if there's any more action going on during warm-up. So there's Laurinavicius, and he has Pedro Lopez behind him, which you can spot on the very distinguishable green helmet in the black, red and yellow car, or gold car, I should say. And he's trying to defend into turn 4. Is he able to make it? No, he's going to send wide and actually lost the rear, nearly thrown it all the way into the wall. But yeah, Saulius Laurinavicius going into the pits with a massive lockup right there, and he's returning to the pits for the race start, I think. Should happen very soon. And we can see also Thomas Raschke has been so quick in qualifying. It's actually should be worrying towards all the other opponents that are around him. And he is now closing up to Martin Jacek in front of him. No, he's diving into the pits and ignoring the wide line on pit entry and speeding into the pit lane as well. Thank God he doesn't do that in the races. And yes, so apparently we do have some more issues coming around as my basically spotter for today. or whatever you can say. The honorary safety car driver, Max Verker, just left the channel, and he's also responsible for our server technical things, basically in the background. So he's managing all of that very well, so I can focus on streaming, which is very good. As we jump on board with Jesus Juniors and his chopped up library, which is of course because he saved it as with the wrong settings. One of these few flaws with the G motor engine. But here we are. It's still providing some good racing in Automobilista, and this means we are looking forward to get going at the 2020 edition of the IVRC Indy 250. It's the first time we do that, and certainly not the last time, as I've been asked about the starting procedure, which was by the post that I just came into TeamSpeak and asked me about the starting procedure. Very responsible from you, John. Actually didn't expect that. But hey, here we are. Let's see, where are you on track? Not there. That's Richard Wanders fighting with Jesus Juniors. They have been car mates 2 weeks ago at the NEC, and they are now fighting each other in the warm-up session right here.
Your channel.
And we are joined by Mark Sturka once again, which is very good. Honorary safety car driver, as mentioned before. So I think we got pretty much all of that out of the way right now. And no worries, Mark, you're fine. And we can see Richard Warner's diving into the pits with only 30 seconds or so remaining on the clock. And that means that we are starting very soon. Apparently we had some issues with some people not being able to join, which is unfortunate, but okay. We have we have quite a lot of cars on the grid, so much that it doesn't even count the last fews anymore. But I think at this point the grid should be ready, and there's someone trying to escape from the pit realm, but realize that the lights have jumped to red already. That has been Richard Warners, who's been fastest in warm-up. Of course, it doesn't say much in general for the race pace. Basically, slipstream is so massive in this mod that you can... Oh, our cars are disappearing. That means we have 30... How many cars do we have for the session? Let's say we have 32 cars, which is the absolute maximum of cars we're gonna have. And we will start the formation lap, 1 out of 3 formation lap at any moment's time, and then we are good to go for this time by at the inaugural Indy 250. Can't say it often enough because I'm so excited about it. Not gonna lie, it's gonna be a very good one, of course, a very long one as well. 100 laps around Indy are quite a lot, and nevertheless, it means that we will do a lot of action going on throughout the course of 100 laps, sorry, while I was trying to find a good camera for the start, but apparently it doesn't let me do that. And yes, so speaking about the starting procedure, and just let you quickly run through it together. We will see Max Verker setting off in the safety car, followed by the grid order in a single file, or presumably in a single file. We're going to do 3 formation laps, and Mark Verker is going to go in the pits then, and we're going to go into double file to make it a little bit more safe around this track. Which is unfortunate, but the only way to keep it somewhat safe. And then we are good to go to be led into the first lap of the race by John McDonald, who's been surely eagerly waiting for the race start. He just chatted that he can't throw it away because he's on pole position. No pressure on you, John. I know that you're listening as well. You can still throw it away. But here we are. Formation lap has gone underway. Let's see if everyone has gone underway as well. Nope, we're missing one car, which is not too much of an issue. I think it will just start from the pit, and we are looking forward to see this going, as we have already finished the first half of the formation lap, and there are some cars out of formation back there, which is unfortunate, but I hope everything will be sorted until the end of lap 3, which means that we will end the formation laps right then. So we can see Mark Stwerker with the lights on, as it presumably should do in the safety car. And you can see some drivers waving a little bit back there, trying to get some heat into the tires for turn 1 in lap 4 it is then. Don't let yourself get confused by the display on the right hand side, on the left hand side, sorry, on the tower. It is of course just a 100 lap race, and the first 3 laps are the formation laps. So if we are in theoretical lap 57, we are in lap 54 in the race, of course, and here we are. First formation lap done, and that means these guys are definitely eager to get going for the race. Mark Stwerker's trying to keep John McDonald at bay. Very interesting to see. While I will try to get you quickly through the grid and see what we can do for the formation lap as well. Sorry, apparently I can't pick the good camera for that, which is unfortunate, but here we are. Let's see if we can find a better one. Apparently not. Okay, so we stick with this one. That's fine as well. So, pole setter for today in about 1.5 laps time is John McDonald for Kanga Racing. He's been not very impressive so far, but he did so in qualifying for sure. And he will look forward to get us going in number 41 machinery. Plain white livery, unfortunate, but here we go. Second one, Pablo Lopez to start, to finish off the first row. He's been second in the championship. His best result was a third so far, but he's been also reasonably impressive in qualifying. Then Sven Galo, the monster himself, who's been dominating round 1 and then disappeared, unfortunately. But he will surely try everything to be good in this one as well. Then we have Felipe Muniz in 5th, starting from 5th. And he's been fairly reasonably not very happy with his results so far, as he scored 14 Fs in 4 races, but he's starting from 5th. So that should break his streak. Then we have Joe Gastitis on home soil, 6th, the American, starting in the number 97 FRA Sim Racing machinery, followed by Andre Leite, Antonio Isaias, 2 teammates for his front row, Pedro Lopez, Gustavo Brzezinski, Moises Reyes, Lucas Miranda, Richard Wonders, Jose Miguel Moronta, who's been commentating with me alongside usually, and Bernie Roos finishing out the top 15. Then we have Jonathan Holohan, Martin Jacek making his debut in the OWC as well. Then we have Jonata Sperto, Martinas Virgilvicius, Philip Folland in 20th, ahead of his teammate Carlos Frau in 21st. Then Blake Warren, another American, in 22nd. Lasso Tegas 23rd, Aurimas Auga in 24th, ahead of Anthony De Lara and Diogo Tenan. Then we have Thomas Raschke without a rear wing. My graphics weren't as good as expected. He scored pole position but got his lap removed, so he's starting ahead of Karl Magnus Borre in 29th. Then we have Saulius Laurevicius in 30th, Carlos Mendes in 31st, and Andrei Tukanovic still waiting in the pits. And we are now watching John McDonald trying to take us around the final corner in double file formation already, so that means these guys are ready to go at any moment's time, and it's gonna be super exciting. 100 laps of oval racing here for the first time at the IVRC, and you can see already these guys are absolutely hot to get going finally. For the first time, these 380 kilometers per hour battles will start. Slipstream's gonna be such a huge factor in this race. And we have seen some acceleration. It's get going. John McDonald has dropped the position to Pedro Lopez, who's setting off into the lead in ahead of turn 1, and he's now also displayed as first. And we can see already so many fights going on in the backfield right there, and it's going to be massive slipstream. Sorry, as I try to find a good camera for that for John McDonald, and also Sven Galo. And there's Felipe Muniz trying to look to the inside as well. And you can see all drivers have spread out so far already. And we see John McDonald going to the inside. Cautions out, as you've heard by Mark Stwerker. Thank you very much. So that means, already cautions out into turn 1. Let's see if we can pick up what happened exactly. As we can see, Mark Stwerker leaving the pits. He'll try to pick up the leading pack, who's now, of course, being done by John McDonald. And he also drives the fastest lap. Let's see. I think it has been... isn't that Laszlo Tegas just standing on the road? Yes, it is. Oh, he's been already collected in the start. And let's see. Oh, there's been some guys having troubles ahead of him. Then he flipped basically into the wall, and that called out our first caution of hopefully not too many to come. And that also means, oh, we have another car in the wall. That's Jogas Titus. He's reversing or facing the wrong way, and Philip Folland just standing there. That's very odd. Looks like he just got caught up there. And let's see if Jogas Titus is able to. What was he doing? Basically just lost the drive apparently and stopped it on the. Very interesting. Okay. Philip Folland lost his front wing and all of that. Things that were going on in lap 1. So let's see if we have seen any major changes. Of course, we've seen Pablo Lopez going for the overtake right at the start, but has been overtaken back by John McDonald for P1, and it's been a good fight for P3 as well. These guys were absolutely giving no room to each other. Sven Gaylord in 3rd, and the lighter it is in 4th, sorry. Isaias in 5th, so Muniz has dropped quite a lot of places. He's now just in 8th. He'll surely be not too happy about it. Let's see if we can see Jose Miguel Moronta has moved up 5 places already. That's a good start for him as well. Martin Sjoglevic is up 10 positions. He started in 20th and is now already up into 10th. So he profited quite a lot. Let's see if we can spot any other major changes. Auremas Auga moved up 9 positions as well. That's quite a good result for, quite a good start for Team Tempest Racing, both cars. And hopefully that's basically it for the moment in terms of crashes and cautions. But you know the saying of the Americans, and that's absolutely right. Yellows breed yellows. So let's see what happened at the restart. I think not too many cars have been going through the pits. Philip Folland, of course, has to stay out until he's allowed to go into the pits, which should happen at the end of this lap. And Jogas Titus already has DNF'd, so does Blake Warren. He's just standing there in the pits, which is very odd. Jogas Titus already out of the race, which is a big shame. The American started from 9th, if I'm not completely wrong. Big shame, as I said. Should have been good on home soil, but both American drivers already out of contention for this one. You can see quite a lot of cars diving into the pits. That's both C-Force Racing cars. They're trying to go into the pits as well as Philip Folland and Saulius Laudenvicius. Doesn't look like these guys have any aero damage. They just go for a regular pit stop. Of course, Jesus Chinos knows oval racing by heart. He's very experienced in that terms, and will try everything to do good. While we are now waiting for the caution to finish. Saulius Laudenvicius is just driving through the pits. That's very odd. Wonder what he was up to. Perhaps he just, or perhaps he made a jump start and basically just served the penalty for that already to get that out of the way. If that's the case, that's been smart driving by him. And Thomas Raschke now being chased by Jesus Jonas and Philip Folland to go back to the end of the grid. You can see Max Twerker still leading it, of course, in P29 apparently, but he's the safety car driver, so he's absolutely fine with that. He also got his 3 lead laps already, so yes. We'll see how things will develop at this restart. Of course, it's a very early stage in the race, and not everyone will be happily dive into the pits at this point, and I think we will see safety car coming in this lap. Of course, I cannot check very unfortunately, but here we are. Yes. So you see John McDonald once again trying to be a little bit more calm this time, and yes, hopefully he gets a better restart this time unless he will wants to actually lose the lead once again, which is of course a strategy. If you go into the slipstream of the car in front of you, you can actually... Oh, there's been a spin! There's been a spin in the background. That's Carlos Frau who touched the wall out of... Oh, there's another spin! And some car heavily into the wall. It must have been Martin Jacek if I'm not completely wrong. Yes, and he lost his rear wing. Oh boy, both MPG cars spinning out of contention at this point of the race. Is that Philip Folland without a rear wing? No, he still has it. 2 MPG cars make absolutely embarrassing themselves. What the hell was going on there? That's a major lag, and we have seen Carlos Frau spinning out of that, and someone else basically just went into another dimension right there. Solus just once again tries to pit. What was going on? That's a red car, right? A white car right there, and that's Karl Magnus Sport basically just blowing into the rear of so many cars. Oh man, big shame. What happened to Martin Jacek? Let's see. He's also been collected by Borre. Oh boy. Tell you what, these guys are certainly not happy about the developments of these guys. As Carlos Frau locks up into the pits, and he'll certainly be not happy about all of that either. I think he does have a flat spot. Jonathan Holland also into the pits. That's very odd. What on earth was going on there? But okay, that means safety car stays out for a little bit more than just 2 laps. Okay, Joe Gastides told us that he shut off his engine to save fuel, and it basically just didn't turn back on. That's very unfortunate, but okay. I think stuff happens, right? Still plenty of chances to come for you, man. Surely, to get a good result, at least on the ovals. But I can feel the frustration for you. Absolutely, not the one you want to have at the Indy 250, of course. But that means that we have already a few cars out of the race. One of them is Joe Gastides, of course, on home soil, as we see here. John McDonald, the Australian, leading the pack, and yes, we have already 3 cars out of the race. Karl Magnus Borre, after this massive flag, has it just disappeared? Blake Warren, Joe Gastides, the other Americans, just out of the race as well, and we can see even more drivers. Why is someone going backwards? Let's see, Karl Magnus Borre, we have no idea what happened to him. Anthony Delara was going backwards into the pits, which is very odd as well. Diogo Tenan just setting off right here, and Jonathan Holohan trying to go back to the pack. And then we should be finally good to go at some point during the race, as we see Max Verstappen moving up some positions in the time screen, because of he's overlapping all these, or lapping back these cars that have already DNF, and trying to get back into racing action as soon as possible, and of course with as much action as possible. And where are the guys that still have to close up? Anthony Lara just exiting turn 2 at this point, so he should be close to the guys in front at the end of this lap. Let's see if anyone comes to the pits. Hopefully not, because that means we will extend the caution even longer than necessary, but here we are. It's been a weird one though by Karl Magnus Borre, who's taking out 3 cars ahead of him, which is very odd. You don't see that happen very often. Sorry, Anthony Lara is now being back to the pack. That means that Max Verstappen should be able to come in this lap, and that we get going once again here at the Indy 250 at IVRC for the first time in the, of course, Open Wheel Championship, and we are trying to get everything back underway this time to rejoin the racing action. Of course, we haven't seen complete lap and race pace yet. That means that things will be even more interesting. And we've got another spin. Saulius Laurinaitis into the wall. That means we will most likely delay once again the restart. Saulius Laurinaitis is just slowing down, rolling out of power. That's very odd. He's just basically stalling there. Has he turned off his engine as well? Okay, let's go back to the racing action and see if we're gonna see another start or not. Very odd though. And yes, quite interesting to see all these delays happen. And Saulius Laurinaitis is DNF'd as well. That's no good, is it? Okay. Big shame from him as well. Lithuanian trying to get a good result. And Gustavo Brusensky also out of the race. What is going on? What is going on at this point? Gustavo Brusensky, he's just driving there. Okay, fair enough. And he had a disconnect. Oh no. Oh, that's absolutely not what he wanted. So we are down to 25 cars at this point. Nearly lost 10 cars already. And we haven't even completed a complete lap in race pace yet. But we should be good to go this time by. I hope so at least. As we can see, Anthony Lara in P25. He is the last one in the queue, and also eager to get going once again for sure. As you can see, Mark Stwerker this time by, everyone's weaving even more. Not sure what that means exactly, but as I said before, I hope we can get going this time by. And everything's looking fine, no spins at the end of the queue so far, which means we should be good to go. And with John McDonald in the number 41 Kanga Racing Machinery, bringing us back to the racing action once again after such a long break. Of course, it's not optimum as we do, but hey, stuff happens, and we know that this is a long one, and you have to stay as long as possible in the race. As John McDonald now. Oh no, there's been another spin. It's getting ridiculous now. Okay, very interesting. I think that must have been Richard Warners, if I'm completely wrong. At the end of the queue, where is he? No, it has been Moises Reyes. Sorry, live is quite confusing there for Rotterdam's racing team, and that means that we are we get going? No, we don't. Max Stwerker has to stay out for another lap. Well, he's been collected by Bernie Bruce. He just basically just plowed into the pack like a maniac, and exactly how you're not supposed to do it. But he's not the first one to do so, and certainly not the last either. So, back to the live feed. Here we are, Mark Stwerker, trying to bring the crowd under control for once. So we finally get going once again. It has been looking good so far. Moises Reyes into the pits. So that means we will see another small delay for about half a lap or so. What is Moises Reyes doing at this point? He's basically reversing out of the pits, doesn't he? Okay, this is very interesting. Not the technique I personally expected. Okay, now he's been picked up. Oh, very interesting, but he finally serves his pit stop. And yes. I think at this point it's gonna be... Oh, there's been another spin. Perfect. Just as I started to speak, it's Felipe Muniz, who's been... what did he do? He's just been collected by his teammate, who's been coming down the road. Oh. Was that Antonio Isaias? Yes, it was. And Felipe Muniz just shut it off and just stalled there, and he's apparently out of the contention as well. It's gonna get hard at this point if we continue what we continue to do. Felipe Muniz out of the race as well, so that means he's done, and Moises Reyes, finally leaving the pits, absolutely ignoring the white line. Yeah, sorry, Joe, you're right. It's gonna be a wreck fest, but not in the way that I've actually wanted it to see, or of course not wanted to see, but didn't want to see any kind of wreckfest, but this is slightly getting out of hands at this point, with drivers basically ignoring all safety procedures and causing spins at the very end of the field so far. Didn't expect that to happen, as usually driving standards are quite okay in the OWC, apart from some minor massive incidents, which are quite an understatement, is it? Okay, let's see. Where's Max Stwerker at? Does he restart this time by? Let's see. Reyes hasn't caught up yet, but we will see what happens in a few moments' time. It looks like Stwerker will stay out for another lap. It looks like there's maybe technical failures have been disabled. I assume it's somewhat related to the clutch or automatic clutch that people perhaps have been not been running. As we've seen Carlos Frau and Martin Jacek, who I know they use clutch control as well. They have been going once again after their spins, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue, unless you apparently stall the engine, which is very odd, but then again, that's exactly what the realism is about. Yes, thank you, Felipe. We do have a human safety car. That's absolutely correct. for once. And I think Mark Swecker, who's been listening to me the whole time, and he's absolutely fuming at this point about the commentary. I'm quite sure about that. But the lights have turned off at the safety car finally. That means we will get going. I will come back to that question in a moment, Felipe, don't worry. But let's focus on the restart. So John McDonald finally trying us to get underway once again. Pablo Lopez already looking to the outside and trying to, basically set John McDonald under pressure. They are so close to each other. Let's see from the rear wing camera if there's any major things going on in the back of the field. Apparently not, so that means we are good to go finally for once for the first complete lap in racing action. Hopefully John McDonald in the number 41 Kanga Racing Machinery, Australian team, Australian driver, and he's been absolutely brilliant so far. And let's see, John McDonald, as he takes us around, he does very steadily. The field is absolutely trying to catch slipstream already. Is he accelerating? No, he's not. He's waiting for the start-finish line, which he is absolutely unable to do so. And that means he will get us underway into race pace. It's going to be an acceleration fight between him and Pablo Lopez, and of course Sven Gaylord right behind him. And they are going once again right now. John McDonald gets us underway, and we finally underway in race pace. John McDonald racing here around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and he's had a good start, unlike Pablo Lopez right behind him, who has to defend from Sven Gaylord. And cautions out, as you've heard before. We have another caution out, and there must have been another major spin at the main straight. It's Philip Folland once again. He's been involved before. Let's see what happened to him. He's been killed by his teammate, didn't he? The 3 MPG competition cars have just come together, and because some people absolutely massively failed to start. Who was that exactly? There's been a jump start by someone, but I can't see. So at the point, Martinos Jugovicius basically just slapped through the start, and people behind him were basically just, and then it all started to snake up. And yes, it's been another restart, unfortunately. So we are once again in the caution period, and we haven't seen half a lap so far in racing action. And let's see. Jesus Juniors and Thomas Raschke are already back up into 14th and 15th respectively. So yes, their early pit stop definitely paid off, and we are now trying to see. Let's see what happens at the pit stop sequence as soon as the whole field has been picked up. John McDonald, he caught so many lead laps at this point that he's most likely going to lead for the whole race except the last lap. And yes, so here we are, same procedures every time, as some of the OS front row cars just massively overshoot it. Guys, I know you're all not listening, but hey, there's a safety car on track, so why do you go full throttle at this point? As a commentator, I mean, I seriously have to ask that. That I even have to ask that, that's quite a thing. But anyways, Felipe, time to answer your question how you can join the championship. First of all, you use manual safety cars as well. Okay, that's nice. Perfect. And I think it has been quite clear how the procedure works, but apparently some drivers haven't got it. As soon as the leader accelerates, basically, or is allowed to accelerate, oof, that has been close between Gaylord and Lopez. As soon as the leader accelerates, everyone else is allowed to accelerate and overtake, and do not brake behind another guy. Just overtake him if he's slow in the restart. But I'm not driving. It's easier to say that from the outside, of course. And these guys have a lot of pressure on them, as we've just completed 13 laps out of 100, and everyone's trying to do their best, of course. And yes, finally coming back to the question asked by Virtual Endurance Brazil, aka Felipe Granado, who's been racing with us in the 2018 Touring Car Championship season, so familiar face around. How can you join the championship? It's easily, just go to our homepage, www.ivrc.eu. as we are based in Europe. And go to the hospitality section as soon, or basically register yourself, go to the hospitality section and join up any championship you want. It's quite an easy system, and I think the homepage is linked below. If not, I will post it in a second in the chat. As you can see, someone cheering on Carlos Mendes. Let's see, where is he on track? Is he still racing? I'm quite sure. Oh, he is definitely in P10. So he moved up 19 positions. He started in P29. It's already in P10. So good debut for him as well, and for 5-star racing so far. Stayed out of trouble, I assume. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to pick up with everyone so far, and as we've seen quite a lot of drivers having quite a lot of issues as the pitted guys leave the pits right now. Antonio Isaias was among them, as championship leader Pedro Lopez was. Kizushima was once again into the pits. As I said, he's basically trying to pit every time the yellow flag comes out. Anthony Lara also into the pits, and that's basically it for these guys who have pitted. And yes, so we watch Mark Zwerker once again and see where he will end up, where we will get going once again. As I just post the link to the homepage right here, and you guys can basically just register there, register yourself if you haven't done before, then go to the hospitality section and choose for any series you want to sign up. As I said, it's quite easy and it should be explain itself quite easily, as I'm running out of English already. So yeah, it's going to be a long evening ahead, and we still have plenty of laps to come by these guys who are still racing, as Anthony Lara has caught up to the pack. That means we should be able to get going once again this time by already. So hopefully this has been a shorter safety car or full caution period than it was before. And yes, hopefully say what is going on this time by. Of course, lights are out, so that means once again John McDonald is trying to get us underway for the third time by at the IVRC Indy 250, and hopefully we'll see a full lap at race pace this time by, and we can see everyone's trying to get the last bit out of the tires, squeeze as much heat as possible into these Firestone rubbers. And then we are looking forward to see 23 cars still going around the track, 23 cars racing for pride and glory around Indianapolis Motor Speedway, famous Brickyard of course, and we are trying to get as much racing action in as possible as we watch the whole pack that's still going from the rear of the number 41 Kanga Racing Machinery, right behind us number 53 Rotodos Racing team car of Pablo Lopez. Is it Pablo? Yes, it is Pablo. Not mix up the names this time by. As you can see, John McDonald he's still waiting. He's trying to play the mind games once again. When does he accelerate? That's the question. As we have some lag issues apparently, but hopefully that doesn't affect too much. No, it doesn't. Perfect. Connection is stable. And John McDonald gets going once again. It's been a good start from P4 it is. He's been overtaking someone already. What was that? Richard Wanders absolutely flying into turn one, I shall say, trying to attack Sven Gelo, his fellow countryman right ahead of him. And we can see so many drivers going around. Do we have any cautions? Reasons for caution? Another caution's coming in. You've heard it before, and it's in another MPG car. This time it has been Carlos Frau who's been involved, and he lost his rear wing apparently. Let's see. He absolutely slept through the start and has been plowed into by one of the Oz front row cars, and then by Moises Reyes, who's also been involved as well. Sorry for sighing, but yes. Who was that just ahead? It has been Martin Jacek and another guy, while this time by. I will leave you alone with the pictures for a few seconds without commentary, and I'll rejoin you in a moment.
User left your channel. User joined your
So
channel.
here we are once again back with the racing action. As we have seen the pit stop of Spaniard Carlos Frau, who's been involved, and he's now catching up to the back of the pack, and then we are good to go once again. I'm quite sure at this point Mark Streck has already learned the safety car lines perfectly, and knows how to slow down the field precisely so he can get going at the end of this lap already, instead of the next lap. But who knows? No, I think Carlos Frau is a little bit too far away. So it just exits turn 2 at this point. Or maybe he's not. Maybe we can see the racing action finally picking up once again. Jesus Chinos must have been in the pits once again, because he's already at the end of the queue once again. And yeah, as I said, he's perhaps out of these guys that are on track, I know, with the most oval routine so far, or experience, I shall say. So he knows how to correctly. Also, we have hit lap 20, so 1/5 of the race done so far, and the lights are not off at the safety car, so that means we go another time round. And yes, that means we will hopefully see some good and clean racing action happening this time by without any of the MPG competition cars involved, or any other car involved, of course, in some restart shenanigans. And then finally get our first first lap at full speed. Basically, it's of course not the full speed lap, because these guys still need some space to accelerate. But yeah, hopefully with all the shenanigans sorted, we are finally getting some good racing action in, which we are looking forward so much to for today. It was so promising so far, but 1/5 of the race has already been solved under caution. And yeah, let's see. John McDonald is basically sweating his arse off, sorry for the language right there, in his seat for sure in Australia. And he certainly wants to see the outcome of the race sooner than anyone else, because he wants to win this for sure. He's racing in P1. The lights in the safety car are out as far as I'm concerned, and we are looking to get going once again, hopefully without any major issues this time, by John McDonald trying to lead the pack once again while it sorts itself behind the white Kanga racing machinery. There's been some orange car, must have been Bernie Moose, going a little bit wide, but that's okay as long as these guys are in line for the start. And yes, it looks good so far. No spin, no action at the very back. Or was there? Sorry, quite concerned about it, because I want to get going as much as you want. So let's see, it looks good so far. And we're gonna get green this time by, once again, for the 4th time, John McDonald is leading the whole pack into the this procedure. He's trying to try mind games once again. When does he accelerate? Once again, the tough and exciting question. He does so now, and he has been a good start, but Pablo Lopez was finally a little bit more aware, but that doesn't mean that Sven Gaylord wasn't, and he is absolutely close to the guy in front of him, and he's trying to basically split the group. But there's been Richard Wanders coming on an attack from Andre Leite and Jose Miguel Moronta. Let's see, 4 wide they go into turn 2, sorry, 3 wide it was, but absolutely fine through it is, or are they? Finally, it looks like we got going once again here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway without any caution. Let's quickly jump through the lead pack, because there surely has been some moves. John McDonald trying to staying in the lead, and Pablo Lopez heavily into the wall around the outside, towing a Townsend Bell as well, and he lost 2 positions to 2 Dutchmen, and now he's coming under attack from Andre Leite as well, who flies past Richard Wanders with the fastest lap of the race so far, of course. First lap finally done in racing action, and it is absolutely exciting. These slipstream fights will show us so much action through the whole field. Let's see, Sven Gaylord for FRA Sim Racing. Leite into the wall. He's dropped another position, and now Wanders trying. Is he attacking? No, he's not. He's trying to save fuel. No, he does. And these guys are now coming close to John McDonald in the slipstream as well. It's an absolute fantastic race so far. Finally, 2 laps in at full speed, and Richard Wanders thinking about a move for P1 so far, but he breaks the slipstream. That allows Sven Gaylord to shoot through on the outside, but he's getting blocked off slightly trying to go around the outside into turn 1. That should end in tears, or does it? It doesn't, and yeah, that opens the door for Wonders once again. Jesus Chinos with the fastest lap of the race so far, and that means the battle for P1 is all open once again. There's been some cars just ahead, which are very slow. That's not what I was expecting to see. But Sven Gehlert now into the move, and he into the lead with a good move, solid move, and he's blowing Richard Wonders right with him. Richard Wonders definitely trying to, gain as much as possible, but then again that opens the door once again for John McDonald in the FRA machinery. Or is it? He's thinking about a move, but he retreats once again, and these guys have shown why they are so brilliant in ovals so far. Richard Warner's trying to make it a Dutch 1-2, or basically in his favor, but that allows the door once again to open for John McDonald, who's been a little bit laggy right there, but that doesn't disturb too much, does it? Jose Miguel Meronto, who's seen in the bright Pride car basically just behind him, will be absolutely delighted to see his car go into the lead for Moronta Racing, and now John McDonald coming past as well. Sven Gehlert, there's been someone into the wall heavily as well. Pablo Lopez isn't too far away either, so these guys fighting certainly did have some good action for themselves, but you've heard it, cautions come out once again, so that means everything is calmed down a little bit, and these guys are trying to get as much room into that as possible. I wonder why people are still going full throttle. Perhaps safety car driver needs to repeat his message so everyone is aware of the ongoing caution. But let's see who's been caught up in that. Is it Diogo Tenan who's been facing the wrong way? Yes. Let's see, just found out. Oh, okay. There's been a fight in the mid-pack going on, basically trying to go 4 wide into turn 3. That usually doesn't work, and he's been collected by... Who is that? Is that... Oh, he's been unsettled by the car in front of him. That's Arimas Auga for Team Tempest Racing, isn't it? Oh, and he bounced off the wall, and that spun Tenan into the wall, and that caused the 5th caution flag around this time by, and Tenan luckily was able to continue and recover from the race. So even despite him spinning, it looks like it didn't affect him too much. And we see Max Zwerker trying to pick up the leader, and he's waiting at the end of turn 3 it is. And now Diogo Tenan coming through, and of course passing the safety car as he's supposed to do. That wasn't Tenan, was it? Yes, it was. Okay, perfect. So we are basically once again in the queue and waiting for the caution to get itself solved. And here is Richard Wonders, this time leading the pack. Very interesting. Of course, pits haven't opened up yet, so no pit stops going on. But they should happen at the end of the next lap, I think, because usually Jesus Chinos tries to go to the pits as often as possible. That's his personal challenge, isn't it? And Bernie Moose in 10th, he's gained up 6 positions from starting position so far. Has been delivering good racing action to us as well, as he was involved in that small fighting group. And now it looks like the whole field has been picked up by Roland, Delara, and Folland in this small group back there. And Tenan, of course, who will be with the group. 2 seconds time. Why is it? Server was having a little bit of a seizure right there, but yes. What? Coronavirus measurements of distance are certainly not considered at this race, are they? As they're even under the safety car, guys are closing in on each other quite a lot, which is a little bit weird to see, as it's definitely not necessary at this point. Considering that the pits haven't opened either.
Pits are open.
Pits are open, as said by Mark Zwerker. Perfect. So we see Diogo Tenan coming into the pits. Apparently, he's also taking the wrong pit entry. Race control will be not too happy about that, but I think Tenan has a flat spot on the right rear, is it? Puncture. So perhaps it's the best for him to get out of the way and basically rejoin the pits as safe as possible. We can see some tire smoke coming up. Anthony Lara going into the pits, and quite a lot of other cars too as well. Let's see if we can pick them all. So, sorry for swapping cameras. Jurgevicius is into the pits, as well as Moose, Leite, Lara, Tenan, Mendes, Lopez, Moronta, and Reyes. Why are these guys? That's weird. Okay, I perhaps understand it. They have to enter these wide line basically to get themselves served and then rejoin the race, or basically go back to reach their pit spot. That's a very, very interesting thing to see. Haven't seen that before, but that explains why they were going backwards in the pits. Anyways, all pit stops apparently have been served. So that means these guys are now catching up to the queue in front of them. Surprisingly, Jesus Chirinos hasn't pitted. He's in P10 for the moment and just a few positions behind Thomas Raschke, his teammate. Remember, these guys have been pitting in lap 1 basically. It was essentially the first caution. So yeah. So I was trying to find the lead car, but here we are, Moses Reyes, last car in the group, going around, and he should be able to close up to the queue very soon, and we will go back to the racing action once again. It hasn't been much of racing action so far, has it? Well, we already crossed the water distance by quite a bit, but in the few laps we've seen, that racing action, they are quite good. And yes, I think everyone who's driving in this event certainly knows a lesson about, or has been taught a lesson about safety drive or safe driving than before. So see what happens if I was causing too much caution. Moses Reyes is with the pack right now, so that means we should be able to get going at the end of this lap. Let's see from the onboard of Richard Wanders. Yes, that's the safety car out, and Richard Wanders is still using the wrong helmet, apparently, which is very odd, because he's using the same file as cars from... Wait, well, there was a car coming out of the pits, wasn't it? Let's see, or was it just someone going wide? We're trying to figure that out. Apparently, Lucas Miranda has been into the pits, has he? So he's a lap down. Okay, Lucas Miranda's a lap down. No, he's not. That's very odd. Okay, anyways, let's go back to the lead pack because we have a new leader coming around this time by. Richard Wanders in the number 27 Moronta racing car. And he's now trying to get us back to racing action for the first time. Not an Australian, but a Dutchman in the lead. And we are looking forward to see what he's able to do and how John McDonald is able to react, because he's in P2. He's been playing mind games before with the guys right behind him, and he's now the one who has to stay awake as much as possible, or aware of Wanders accelerating, which he does very early. But here we are, Wanders with a good start ahead of McDonald. Now another caution's coming out because someone most likely did mess up the restart. Yes, it was. It was this time Jose Miguel Moronta, who's now trying to steer into his opponent as well, which doesn't certainly do much for him. Let's see, which car is that? That's Lasso Teglas and Jurgevicius not accelerating at all, and that causes Jose Miguel Moronta. No, it causes Bernie Moose to spin. How the hell was Moronta involved there? That's been a very, very interesting crash, to say the least, because all of these guys involved were actually, they weren't even close to each other. Okay, let's see. Bernie Moose, he didn't accelerate as well. Has been picked up by the guys behind. And then, where was Moronta at? He just spun randomly, didn't he? No, he spun because he was trying to... Oh, he swerved into the side of another car, and that sent him around. Very interesting. Okay, and not the best way to do that either. Okay, but we've seen another caution this time, quite unsurprisingly. You know what the Americans say, yellows breed yellows, and we see that in a very fine example at the first edition of the IVRC Indy 250, and we are trying to get as much as racing action in as possible, but apparently we are denied by some circumstances. Let's see if I got someone from the chat. No, apparently not. Otherwise, I would have been trying to get myself involved into the restart procedure, but all these guys that are important for that this time aren't here anymore, which is very unfortunate. We've seen another spin. I am not surprised by this anymore. Orions are facing the wrong way at the main straight. He's now rejoining. As you can see, quite a lot of cars, including Pablo Lopez, once again into the pits, and these guys have to go back, which is very odd. But here we are, Jonathan Holland going in for repairs, as well as Lucas Miranda has just disappeared. Okay. Ruiz was also into pits, as well as Pedro Lopez is. And let's see how he ended up where he ended up. He's been killed by Thomas Raschke, basically, while waiting for the safety car. Raschke was going for the pits and then decided to go back and basically just killed Auga with that move, which is very odd. Okay. I mean, you can do that, for sure, but it certainly doesn't help your point in any way, does it? Not to mention that he illegally overtook another car right behind him. He basically just swiped out the car in front. Okay. Quite a lot of stuff to look at for the race control, and Raschke remaining in P5, while Auga was swamped from P4 to P15 with that things going on. And let's see if these guys from the pits have already rejoined the pack. Most likely not, have they? Ray is still exiting the pits. He has basically the oddest pit position ever, so he's every time he goes to the pits he's massively disadvantaged, which is unfortunate. But then again, by all the times he has gone to the pits already, he certainly has lost more time doing that than going to his pit box, actually. Carlos Mendes closing up to the queue very safely, very mature, perfect, while Pablo Lopez now also back there. I think it was his first pit stop from Lopez to Spainard, and he's trying to stay out as long as possible, but the lead is staying out even longer. Moranta now with the pack, and Ray is rejoining them as well. That means we should be able to go at any moment's time. Let's see, where's the leader? Oh no, there's another car in the pits as I hit a massive black spike. That's been Raschke into the pits, so restart anyways. Okay, very interesting. But here we go, Richard Wanders trying to get us underway once again. And we are now once again trying to see what the Dutchman can do from P1, trying to defend from John McDonald once again. I hope that McDonald is a little bit more aware this time by, as we can see, these guys swerving left to right to get the maximum heat into the tires as possible for turn windows, and they're going out very wide, aren't they? And that's definitely not single file either. Wonder who that is, but anyways, let's focus on P1. Richard Warner's in P1, and he did try to play mind games before. He's not trying to do so this time. Is he accelerating? No, he's not. He's still waiting. Quite a long time to go. Is he accelerating? Yes, he is. And now it's go for John McDonald. Good start from P2, and Sven Galo is absolutely swamped down to P7 from P3 he was in, and Wanders will certainly be not too happy about the start he did. He basically tried to trick John McDonald by accelerating a little bit earlier, but yeah, he's running wide and he's losing 2 positions to those front row cars who are they're flying through the Brazilians, Antonio Isaias and Lucas Miranda, Andre Leite that is, and trying to have their first goal on P1, who is once again John McDonald in the number 41 Kanga Racing Livery, machinery I shall say, and the OS front row guys basically blocking each other into turn 4. So that means McDonald gets a little bit of breathing space. For the first time ever, we can see the leader disappearing a little bit, and the OS front row guys try to work together, but it doesn't work out because Richard Warne is already back with them and trying to get his positions back and also the lead back, which he does for one, and let's see if he's able to do for another at this time by Sven Gaylord. In the meantime, has already regained another 2 positions, so he's back into P5, and let's see, Isaiah's absolutely able to defend from Warner this time, but look at the grip, look at the line Warner has through that corner, through turn 3, now through turn 4. Warner's trying to phase out into the inside, but he has to swerve back, and now the slipstream for another Brazilian, and the light is massive at this point. He's trying to look around the outside. Can he make it stick around the outside? It's also tricky to do so, and he's not able to, but that opens up the door for Richard Waters, who's also gained a little bit of slipstream. He's now looking to the inside, and now it's all starting all over again, and John McDonald will be absolutely pleased to see that, because he's running away 5 wide on the back straight with Trent Gaylord involved as well, and Jesus Chirinos for C-Force Racing. These guys are absolutely fighting 3 wide into turn 3. That's absolutely massive. Brilliant racing so far, and that's exactly what we wanted to see. We promised to have good racing, and Andre Leiter now up into P2. Basically, all the times I say any positions, it's absolutely pointless because they changed 2 corners later anyways. Leiter, P2, trying to defend from Gaylord and Warners, who are fighting over P3. Dutch guys basically on the edge at this point as well. But surprisingly, Gaylord isn't as impressive as he usually is. Still running in the front pack, of course, but not as dominant as he used to do. And now Warner's trying to regain, once again, P2 from the Brazilian in front of him. Oh, his front row. Oh, they're very, very loose on the entry. There was Andre Leiter for his front row, as I said before. He's trying to squeeze Warner's cautions out once again. We have another incident apparently, but that has been some brilliant, brilliant racing from all of these guys, and exactly what we wanted to see. Okay, let's see. Let's pick it up where we left. Martin Jacek moved up into P7 during all of that, and a major advantage that he got. Philip Volland trying to limp back to the pits, as well as Pedro Lopez, whose rear is looking very weird. Okay, let's see. The mid-pack has been absolutely crazy at this point. But the fight for the lead wasn't too bad either, so we focused on that. Sorry if I missed any of the actions going on right there. Ooh, it was the Volland turned around by, let's see. Sorry, if I go roughly, oh no, it's been another car, white car right there. Arimas Auga this time getting involved with Bernie Roos, who's been basically, oh, there's been a massive crash being involved with so many cars. I can't even pick out who they all were. And that's a big one we've all waited for. And it's absolutely destroying half of the back field. And you can see there's been so many cars involved. Let's pick it up. Okay, so if there's one thing you don't want to see, it's this camera. Basically the car ahead of you spinning, and you basically just blow into a cloud of debris and carbon fiber pieces going around and cars spinning into you. Jesus Christ, that's some scary stuff, but looks like everyone is able to continue. Let's see who's been involved. First of all, it was of course Roos and Auga. He then got collected by I think it was one of the Bravo Racing cars. Yes, it was Lopez, and there's been another white car involved. Can't figure out who that is even. There's so much action going on, or so many crashes going on. Farrell absolutely going into the wall on his own, and then basically was able to avoid all of that. But he's still in the pits nevertheless. So that's been a massive incident. Basically, how all incidents go at Indy so far. It has been quite a NASCAR-style crash, to say the least, but that means that we've seen quite a lot of cars in the pit lane as well, going for repairs. Of course, in the Volanta, just freezing cars around the outside. Wait, has he pitted in the closed pits things? While some guys, they're just ignoring the white line on the pit exit, which were Anthony Lara and Diogo Tenan. That means they will get penalized right after the results are in. Martin Jacek has also pitted from P7. I was just saying how good his race was so far. Moronta continuing to be in P11 and now absolutely overshooting it. There's been a car very slow. Is that Richard Wanders? Don't tell me that is Richard Wanders from the lead of the race. It is. What has happened to him? Where is he? Like, why can I not find him in the standings? Is he in last position? Ray is going to the pits, which is very odd. And where is Wanders at? Let me find him, please. It's very odd. Okay, didn't expect that to happen. We missed all of that, of course, during the massive incident we've just seen. Ray is going very slow. I think he's returning to the pits as well.
Warner's on P10. He dropped after spinning out at the beginning of the caution.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Mark. You just kept us updated right there. Wanders, so basically down to P10, and that was Moses Reyes, who's going around very slowly. But he's back up the field once again, and overshooting it as well. Yeah, he's a lap down. Okay, that explains it. He's a lap down and now trying to regain the lap he lost, which he's of course allowed to do. And going around the outside into turn 3 of all the pack, and that's basically the best feeling that the driver can have. Just going through and having a good time on your own. Okay, let's see. Himmler side, we have all 22 cars who are still racing, and of course race in queue already. Means we should be good to go next time by. This time led by a Brazilian. So we haven't seen that one before. But it is really light in the number 53 always front row machinery. Sorry if that's wrong. I just look it up. Haven't seen the entry list in quite a while. Gotta be honest. It is the number 3, of course, Andre Leiter. He's racing for always front row and gaining his first few lead laps around the inaugural Indy 250. Quite a lot of lead changes so far going on. Of course, massive slipstream helping that a lot, and with Richard Wanders spinning out, thank you, Mark, for providing that information. We've seen another lead change under the safety car period, which is unusual, but stuff happens like this, and we shall be good to go at any moment time. It lights are out on the safety car, and we are now getting led into lap 43 that is, because we have to subtract 3 more laps from the formation laps at the beginning. Leading into lap 43, that will be Andre Leiter in the number 33 Inter-sponsored Horse front row machinery. Ahead of FRA Simracing Sven Galehood, who's still there despite all the shenanigans that have been going on around him. And Pablo Lopez already back up into 4th. Remember, he was fighting for the lead at the very beginning of the race. And now Jesus Chinos, after an early pit stop, is also into 3rd. So quite a lot of drivers looking forward to improve even more. Thomas Raschke going out of the single file formation right there. Perhaps he's trying to get a little bit of breathing space between himself and the car in front of him. But we can see Leiter, I was slightly confused there. Jesus. No, he's in P3. Jesus, she was. Andy Leiter leading us into the next oncoming lap. And let's see where he accelerates. He's certainly looking forward to do so for the whole race, as you can see from his rear wing cam this time by looking onto this number 74 machinery of Sven Galehood. And let's see, Leiter, is he going right now? Yes, he does, and he had a good start. He's already passed, he hasn't passed, of course, but he gained a little bit of breathing space between himself and Chinos in P3, but the main pack is still there. Let's see from this camera if you can see any moves going on. Quite a lot of action going on in the mid pack. Carlos being swamped basically there as well, once again on the inside line, but Leiter has remained in the lead for 2 laps. Now it is Sven Galehood's time to finally regain the lead that he tried to get into for so long. He of course led already a little bit under the first racing period, I should say. Ooh, so many cars going into the wall in turn 3, and Galehood trying to go around the outside of the Brazilian ace. Right, is he able to do it? Yes, and there's a Venezuelan saying, hey man, I want to have a space on that as well, or a good shot on that as well. Jesus Chinos in 3rd, now with the double slipstream, now trying to look to the inside, is making it work. But Leiter and Galehood still side by side for so long. They are still racing side by side into turn 2, so basically it's racing side by side for a whole lap at this point. And now Lopez, and is that Miranda getting involved as well? Or is it Isaias? Sorry, I have to quickly look it up. It is Isaias, of course, and Gaylord now finally makes it clear into turn 3 for P1 in the IVRC Sim Racing Machinery. And oh, there's been another car into the wall. It must have been Wanders in the background. And some more the slipstreams now helping definitely Lighter to regain P1 into turn 1. Can he make it stick? Slightly looking into it, but he's already passed and now forcing Gaylord to go wide. And oh, there's been Chinos going into the wall, or was it Mashkin? No, there has been Chinos going into the wall into turn 1. He's also dropped 2 or 3 positions. John McDonald is also must have looked over him as well. Has he been to the pits? Most likely. Or has he lost lead anyways? Lighty now back into the lead once again. And it's been a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-way fight, 7-way fight for the P1 basically going side by side through turn 4. And now everyone's trying to basically get as much tow as possible during the slipstream phase. Both C-Force racing cars back there in the background trying to bump draft each other, which doesn't really work in this mod, unfortunately. But too wide into turn 1 I shall say, sorry, and now trying to make it 3 wide is John McDonald, and he's been sending so many cars wide in that one move, and Sven Gaylord loses out 3, 4, 5, 6 positions in just one corner by going a little bit too wide. And John McDonald, he's saying, hey man, I'll get that back, and he's back into first, but he has a feisty Venezuelan right behind him with Jesus Chinos trying to make an impression for C-Force Racing. He's been trying to get the good results for so long, but look at the slipstream from Richard Wanders. He's making up 3 positions, now going around the outside for 4 positions. Can he make it stick? It's basically absolute carnage at this point. 7-way fight for P1. That's absolutely crazy and absolutely... I'm running out of words at this point. Oh, McDonald into a spin that will cause another caution. And he's been collected. Yes, we got that confirmed. He's been collected by Pedro Lopez, and that was one of the C-Force racing cars. Oh man, what on earth was going on right there? I think McDonald has just run into a flat spot, did he? But right at the apex of the corner, he lost the rear and spun around violently, and basically the other 2 guys had nowhere to go. Big shame, there's been some more cars. Oh, Mendes upside down as well as Pablo Lopez. How did they end up there? Mendes now restarting the car, and Lopez as well. Thank God, they are still going. But, whoa, that has been violent. Let's see. First one, McDonald. He's been racing so brave around the outside, and he just lost the rear. Was he tapped from behind? Let's see. Oh, he just basically lost it on his own, and then has been collected by Pablo Lopez, and there's been a spin by, who was that? Was that Chininos? I think so. He's basically just lost it. No, it was Thomas Raschke. He's lost his rear wing as well while he tried to avoid it. And let's see what has happened to Pablo Lopez. He collected. Sorry, as we jump on board with him, watching on what has happened from his point of view. So there's been the spin, another spin, and then yeah, nowhere to go for him. He got a flat spot. Then basically just got collected by Jose Miguel Moranta, of course, everyone in the middle of the road, and yeah, Lopez basically just going into the path of everyone that was coming on. That didn't help, and then he decided to take Mendes with him, because why the hell not? And yes, not the way we wanted. Oh, Sven Gaylord is into the pits. He's been down to P20, so something must have happened to him as well. He was exiting the pits, okay, and then rejoining the pits right afterwards. Interesting. Okay, so perhaps Sven Gaylord with a small mistake right there, but he's been into the pits, as well quite a lot of other guys are. And yes, as said before, yellows breed yellows. You see that happening, and
Gaylord out.
Gaylord out of the race. Okay. Whoa, that's quite a turn of event, isn't it? I wonder what has happened to him, but yeah, you're right, Mark. Thank you for spotting that. I would have totally missed that. Gaylord just came into the pits and retired the car. Okay. Well, big shame in my opinion, because he should have been on for a good result. But it wasn't on to set, apparently. Antonio Lara once again ignoring the white line on pit exit, which is of course not allowed to do. Well, I'll try to, yes, go for P1 and leave you alone with the pictures once again for another split second. Of course, this time by it is Richard Warners leading ahead of Antonio Isaias for all his front row. So not the Brazilian one too. And we've seen a Polish driver in P3, Bernie Roos, finally making a good impression. Of course, profiting from all the madness that was going on ahead of him. And Martin Jacek on debut, currently running in P4. Is that Jacek? Yes, it is. In P4, so also good debut for him, and as well as the Team Tempest Racing cars behind him. So I just leave you alone for the pictures, with the pictures for a split second, and rejoin you in a moment's time. So I've been basically blowing through the infinite spaces that are in Discord going on, and yes, we've seen some shenanigans going on there as well. Quite a lot of discussions between all the drivers that have already retired from the race. So quite a lot of things. Carl Magnus Forrest saying that he got disconnected from the server, so basically he was plowing through all the cars in the beginning. Yes, I think it happens. Elias Ladovich is saying that he stalled his engine and couldn't restart, and Ernest Muse basically he was not even racing today. Asking when he should turn off pit limiter at the end of the white line, of course. On restart. Basically whenever the leader accelerates, but okay. Nice that you're listening, Ernest, sorry, I shall say. Ernie and Bernie, no, sorry for the joke coming on. Okay, Mark basically is telling me right here to focus on racing. Thank you, Mark, once again. Okay, let's see, lap 55. So that means we have already passed the halfway point, at least in terms of laps. Most of them have been under caution, unfortunately, though. Lights going off. That means we will see once again Richard Wanders and leading into the racing action. Hopefully, without with more than 3 or 5 laps of action going on. There's been quite a lot of things going on. Ooh, it's gonna get dicey in the mid pack, doesn't it? Apparently, after having I have lost count of how many restarts we've already had. But apparently people still haven't got the procedure. Anyways, let's see. Richard Wanders trying to lead from Antonio Isaias and sorry, now I'm getting confused as well. Bernard Bruce, of course, and yes, let's see how things go on in this time by Richard Wanders in the number 27 Moranta Racing Machinery. Oh, there's been a lockup back there as well. I can already feel the next yellow coming out, the full course caution. But let's see how things go on. Hopefully I haven't jinxed it. Richard Wonders so slow going with here, trying to basically play mind games once again. If he does against Antonio Isaias, the Brazilian, he now accelerates, and Isaias has a good start. We've seen quite a huge start from, who was that? Andre Leiter jumping 1, 3, 4 cars. Pedro Lopez getting swamped, the championship leader. He's been absolutely silent this time by compared to other races where he's been absolutely dominant. But you can see Richard Wonders
Caution.
trying to, okay, and we have another caution coming up, as told by the safety car driver, I shall say, and it is Anthony De Lara who's been involved, and apparently Lasso Tegas and Carlos Frog getting wrecked once again, as well as Jonathan Holohan. That's at least someone new who's been involved into all of their shenanigans going on. It has been into turn 1 where a driver basically just disappeared from existence. Oh no! Brow basically has collected a spinning car right in front of it. Okay, let's figure that out for a moment. I think that was it Chinos or Rashke, one of the C-Force racing cars going straight, and that unsettled everyone else behind them, and most people weren't able to escape from all of that what's going on. As you can see, hold on, basic slapsticks flipping it around the track. Most of the people right behind couldn't escape from all of the stuff that was going on, unfortunately. Yes, meaning that we got into the next caution. John McDonald is down into P18. How did he end up there? Was he, most likely was in the pits in the previous caution. I just assumed that. Was Rashke there? No, the other car, that was the other C-Force racing car, Jesus Chinos, who's been involved in that turn 1 incident. So we found our man who caused that this time by, as the pits will most likely open, if I'm not completely wrong, this time by, and we will what happens afterwards. If Richard One is finally going back to the pits, which he did before. Yes, no, he's lurking everyone into it, but he doesn't. Unlike Bernard Moose, who's coming into the pits, as well as Martinos Jurgelvicius right behind him, and quite some others off the mid-pack, involving Diogo Tenan, Pablo Lopez, I think, is that Carlos Mendes for sure. Anthony Lara, who has to come in for a new front wing. Jonathan Holohan and Carlos Flores also go back to the pits without his rear wing missing. Yeah, with his rear wing basically missing. And so that means we'll be in for a longer caution period, because Carlos Flores will surely have to lap himself back. And yes, it's not the best of the races for him so far, is it? Neither it is for most of these guys who are so far down the order. Martin Jurgelvicius has jumped Bernie Roos in the pits. That's very interesting, as Jurgelvicius also ignores the wide line on pit exit. Let's see if Bernie Roos is able to make that right. He is. Perfectly executed by him, and but still, that's very interesting. Haven't expected to see that happening. Other people, drivers overtaking other drivers in the pits, as we now wait for Jurgelvicius and all the others to close up to the cars in front, which while we are waiting on with Bernie Roos in the Team Bernie number 18 entry, the bright orange car. You can absolutely not miss that at any point on track. It's the most brightest car that's on the grid. No, it's definitely some trademark for Team Bernie to run these bright orange cars, and they certainly have created their own brand so far. It's a very impressive brand, as we see Diogo Tenan once again diving into the pits and speeding into the pits most likely, but that's his second pit stop. So that's a little bit odd to see Carlos Frog exiting the pits with his rear wing still missing. Okay. Interesting, once again, to say the least. Oh no, there it is. Okay, perfect. It has appeared at the very end of the pit straight. Tina most likely will rejoin ahead of Carlos Frog, and that means that these guys, they are actually not allowed down, so we should be able to get going at the end of the next lap once again. and also once again led by Richard Wanders. If I'm not completely wrong, I'm not wrong this time by the order. Interestingly, hasn't changed for the top 2, but you can see Martin Jacek, who I praised so much at the beginning of this caution, at the end of the last caution, is running in P3, making up 14 positions, but he still has to pit, as if I'm not wrong. And Richard Wanders now into the corner, the 4th corner, of course the last corner here at the Brickyard, which is also the nickname of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And we are now looking forward to see everything back underway at the end of the next lap, hopefully. Let's see where Alice Frau is at on track. Oh, we can see Thomas Raschke going into the pits. That's a late pit stop. I'm not sure if he's considered to have a regular pit stop, and if the safety car will wait for him. Alice Frau is there, so will be at least close back to the queue as well as Richard Wanders. Once again, you can see that in the unfortunately very disturbed Bronte Racing livery. Of course, that's not the real livery, it's just basically wrong settings and file in the livery file. Safety car lights staying on, that means we will see it for another lap. Oh no, they're going out, okay, interesting. So lights in the safety car go off, that means Thomas Raschke is at quite a lot of disadvantage at this point. But Wanders trying to get us back underway on the racing action, and let's see what these guys, the new guys up the front pack can do. Jose Miguel Baronta in 5th, Martin Jacek in P3. Jacek, most interestingly, got the fastest lap ever so far recorded on the server, and Wanders absolutely flying towards turn 4, and there's a huge gap to P4, which is closed now. But I think Wanders basically just forgot to turn the pit limit on that. Will certainly cause some shenanigans. I hope not, but yeah, judged on base what we've seen so far, it's promising. But everything was right. Okay, see, another lesson learned for me. Wanders now in the lead once again. He has been in that position before, but with another car right behind him. Let's see when he finally decides to accelerate. He does so now, exactly at the moment as I say it. And it's been a good start from him and a good start from Martin Jacek as well in P3. He's already trying to attack Isaias in front, but he doesn't make it stick for now. And let's see into the first turn. Everything has been going right and well so far into turn 1. There's been a little bit of wall banging, a little bit of wheel banging as well, but no major incidents so far. So that means we finally made the passage of turn 1 and 2 perfectly fine. And now is Jacek looking to the inside. Oh, he's nearly been cut out by Isaias just in front of him. And now the 2 OS front row cars absolutely fighting for P2 and fighting for the slipstream of the Dutch guy in front of them. It is Richard Wanders now providing slipstream to Andre Leiter. There's been some squabbling going on right behind them, but apparently that's no caution breeder so far, and Wanders lost the position to Leiter. But oh, Jacek, he's lost it, but he just retook it very well. Very good save from him on that note. And now Jose Miguel Moronta finally comes into picture because he has a good chance of attacking P4 it is, of course, of Jacek, and he makes a move stick very well. Let's go back to the lead fight. Richard Wanders once again trying to defend from Andre Leiter, that is in P2, the Brazilian. Now in the slipstream, let's go to the rear view cam of Richard Wanders, and let's see, the slipstream is so massive, you can see all the advantage that Isaias has. Oops, sorry, wrong camera. Here we go, going around the outside, he tries to make a move. If you've seen that work before, especially, was it him and Sven Gaylord fighting for overlap, basically, for P1, but Leiter basically run out of breath around the outside this time by, and there's a massive fight going on for P4, and that surely is something to look out for while we keep an eye on the lead fight. But this one is quite a fight going on right here. Mironta losing 2 places to McDonald, who's been up into P4 already. How did he manage to do that? Anyways, Jacek back into P5 once again. Chirinos is in that mix as well as Jurgulevicius and sorry, is that Moises Reyes? It must have been. Anyways, such a huge fight going on for P4 it is. Basically, it's a 6-7 way fight once again for position, and McDonald now trying to break away from that massive fighting group, which will be certainly his advantage if he's able to get rid of all of them, because they are fighting massively and they are trying to do their best. McDonald trying to weave out of slipstream so far, but he's not able to make it stick, and Jacek is still with them now, running into the wall, and that allows Shilos to stay with Wonders just... sorry, what am I saying? McDonald just in front of them, and see, I'm just getting too excited. Shilos trying to make it into turn 1 against McDonald. Can he make it stick? Easily breezing past, and McDonald will be delighted to see that, because he'll be the one with a massive slipstream down towards the next turn. Oh, Jurgenicius, he's been struggling, but he's rejoining right in front of the pack, and wow, that didn't lead to any spin. That's very interesting. Yeah, Pedro Lopez finally coming into picture by making a good move into P8. That is, while Chinos and McDonald, as I said, McDonald going for the switchback basically into turn 3. And now these guys, if they work good together, they can easily catch up back to the group just ahead of them, which are still fighting for the lead. Isaias had to let go a little bit of the fighting pack for the lead, which is still Richard Wonders and Andre Leiter. And these guys have to work together as much as possible right now, just to stay away from all of these fighting packs going on. That, by the way, must have been the longest time we've been under green so far. And basically, I've just jinxed it with that words, didn't I? But let's see, Wonders basically just hugging to the inside line, down to the apron all the time, and making it so hard for Leiter to find a way past the Dutchman. And every time Leiter is just there, Wonders says, "Oh, no, I'm taking the inside line, you can find your way around me," and making it a massive blue and black roadblock for Leiter just there. But then again, Leiter with all the slips in, it doesn't really matter if he screws up a corner, because slipstream will bring him back to Wonders' rear end at the very next turn anyways. So let's see, McDonald and Chinos still fighting for P4, but actually I think they are more like working together instead of fighting, aren't they? McDonald lifting quite massively there to let Chinos breeze past, and they are, as I said, working very well together, and they're trying to catch up to the group in front. It's 5 seconds to Antonio Sayas up the road, so quite a lot of gap to reclaim for them. As you can see, Thomas Raschke now back into P6. The provisional pole setter got his lap deleted, and he's trying to defend from still fighting pack right there, but it's all spreading out a little bit at this point. Raschke in P6 ahead of Jose Miguel Moronta, who's our main TCC commentator, and he's now into commentary booth. Ooh, Chinos with a big mistake right there. He lost quite a lot of time, and I think he just he lost the rear in the apex of turn 2, didn't he? So that means that all the fighting starts over once again, and Martin Jacek basically once again into the wall. That certainly doesn't help his results, does it? In any way. Burning Roos also in that fight. Against Pedro Lopez, that is for P8. The Brazilian driver trying to defend from the Polish driver. That's where my Portuguese came from. See, it's all getting way too exciting at this point. So, Roos trying to take a shot around the outside once again. Chinos regained the position against Moronta already. And Jacek Mendes going on. 5-star racing driver Carlos Mendes on debut, and Jacek once again into the wall. If he's making it stick without going into the wall every single time, he might be a little bit faster, won't he? But Mendes basically back into the top 10, and now gaining the massive slipstream at this point from Bernie Roos just in front of him, and Pedro Lopez, double slipstream. Mendes breezing past easily into P9, and now trying to make a move on his fellow countryman Pedro Lopez, but Roos isn't too far out of the mix either, is he? And we can see that neither Mendes nor Roos gave up on that, and Roos still tucking in right in the slipstream, right under the rear wing of Mendes in front of him, and you can see Mendes and Lopez absolutely eager to deliver finally some good results, finally to have some track time which goes to their liking, instead of Jacek once again into the wall. Mendes nearly taking out Roos, and Roos basically saying, nope, you're not going to take out me. Mendes now to the inside of Lopez. Can he make it 6? Easily into turn 1, and Lopez now trying to defend from Roos as well. This slipstream thing is... Oh, Roos and Mendes... Sorry, Lopez wheel banging quite a lot right there. And... yes. Here we go. As we can see, Roos now made up another position. A little bit of touching right there. Touching and rubbing seems to be quite a thing around this track, doesn't it? With all the slipstream going on. And we can see Carlos Mendes lost the position to Burning Roos, and who's now trying to break away. But Mendes already also coming under attack from Pedro Lopez, who's basically just running into the rear of Mendes. So let's see. Fight for P1. It's still going between Wanders and Leite, and here we go for the inside. It is once again Wanders, and Leite basically just trying to break Wanders' will around the outside, but it's not working, does it? It's not really working, is it, in any way? So perhaps Leite has to find another way of rethinking his moves around the outside. It clearly doesn't work for Wanders, and Wanders also now charging up to some overlapped cars which are in the way, and now again to the outside. Sorry, Leite it is. Oh no, there's been a crash, and that will breathe another caution. Yep, caution's out, as we've just heard from that. Richard Wanders and Leite have come together for the lead, and that's been a massive incident. Leite basically just got away from that by saving his car. Let's see from the onboard of Andre Leite. He's trying to go around the outside, and then Wanders just touched the grass slightly there. Oh, that has been such a majorly good reaction from Andre Leite. Absolutely brilliant to save that car from a massive tank slapper. Absolutely brilliant driving for him, but Richard Wanders will absolutely be furious about the mistake he just made, because he's thrown it all away at this very point, and that means we go into another caution, and Richard Wanders staying there after another spin in P6 to recover to that. And yes, that gives everyone a little bit of time to breathe and recharge and go back through the way of thinking. Oh, look at that. Philip Foller now up into 13th, but what I wanted to point out was that Martinez Rigolevicius has gone into the pits right under green flag conditions, and yes, very interesting to see that happen. So I'll leave you alone with pictures for another split second, and then rejoin you in a moment's time for the full commentary.
User left your channel. User joined your channel.
So here we are. Carlos Frau has done his pit stop, and everyone else is now diving into the pit lane, as we can see, with a little bit less than 25 minutes. 26. Sorry, I'm messing that up, and I. Wow, that's so many cars in the pit lane. Look at that. Basically, what we just expected from IndyCar racing, didn't we? Oh, there's been a. Yeah, brilliant idea to stop on the ideal line in the middle of the pit lane. Anyways, so many cars into the pits, and that means that Laszlo Teglas is leading the race. That's quite new. Didn't expect that to see. Arimas Auga, who's pitted on the green flag conditions, also back up into P2. He has never been there before, was he? Jonathan Holohan into P3. So everyone who's been pitting early is now suddenly in a good position to basically have good results. Underlight is trying to rejoin in 4th and Isaias in 5th. Lucinos is in 6th. Okay, Rashki in 7th. That's very interesting. Carlos Frau has moved up into 8th because he was able to pit at the very moment that Mark Zwerka called for the pits to open. And now that moved him up into P8. Absolutely brilliant strategy work from him right there. Richard Wanders and John McDonald in P9 and 10 after their pit stops. So that's quite a thing for them to do. And Philip Folland, yes, Martin Jatziger, he must have been hit some troubles, didn't he? Oh, just overlooked him, which is also quite possible. Anyways, Martin Jatziger is just stopped under green flag caution, under green flag, under regular circumstances. Here we go. He's now dropped a lap and is lapping himself back. Let's go back to his onboard and see how that looks like. It's looking very good, gotta say. Of course, you can take it a little bit more careful as usual through turn 1, which he does. And now he's back onto the lead lap with a little bit more than 1/4 of the race to go. Laszlo Teglas is into the pits and he's now trying to rejoin as we switch for P1, which is very unexpected. Arimas Auga in that case. Wait, oh yeah, Laszlo Teglas has come to the pits, of course. Sorry. Arimas Auga now into the lead, and let's see when we go back to racing action. I think it must have been next lap, isn't it? So yeah, absolutely new situation for these two guys right there, and they have the fierce OS front row guys right behind them who know running in the front line quite well, don't they? Arimas Auga and Jonathan Holohan are running in P1 and P2 for the moment, but they haven't pitted, so basically it's just them being glorious for a brief moment, and they have the honor to basically bring us back to racing action in a lap's time, and then we would see what's going on right there as well. Quite a lot of action so far. Of course, it has been a little bit difficult, but yes, I'm quite certain that for the end of that caution period, it must have been one of the last ones, most likely, unless you keep it up with the yellows breed yellow. So yes, not very pleasant for everyone to stay under caution. So hopefully drivers will notify that they are supposed to stay away from opponents. Of course, mistakes happen as they were to Richard Wanders, which caused this caution. And Antonio Isaias, Andre Leiter, absolutely brilliant to save the car. As we see, the lights on the safety car have turned off by our driver Mark Zwerka, and Arimas Auga, the Lithuanian, is in the honor to get us back under racing action in the number 14 Tempest Racing Machinery. New livery for them, and I think it's the first time that he enters as well. So it's, yes, absolutely correct. It's his debut in the OWC here at the Indy 250, and we are now waiting to get going once again. We can see Jonathan Holland in number 12 Bravo Racing Machinery as well, trying to make the moment happen as good as possible without getting swamped too much. I am quite sure he's trying everything to stay where he is against the Brazilians behind him, and Auga is enabled to accelerate whenever he wants from this point on. And let's see when he does that. It must have been any moment's time now. He's surely quite excited to lead the pack at this point, and let's see, he's restarting the pace. He's waiting quite a long time. He's accelerating now, and it's been a good start for him, and he already created a small gap, so that should keep him safe for at least one lap for the Brazilians and Portuguese drivers right behind him. And this time I got the nations right for sure. Olga absolutely easily breezing away from Holohan, Light and Isaias trying to pounce into turn 1. The mid pack's already going crazy once again. You can see John McDonald and Richard Wanders trying to impress once again, but they surely don't do that in any way this moment's time. And the SUV is going super wide into turn 3. It's surely going into the wall as well. And he tried to overtake Martin Jacek for P13. Now he's trying to run on the grass, does he? And it actually works for whatever reason. It didn't work for Richard Warners beforehand. Now going 3 wide over the start-finish straight, 4 wide even into turn 1. Is that going to work? It is somehow. There's been some cars into the wall, but they haven't collected too much damage, have they? And yes, let's go back to P1, is it? André Leite and Isaias already into P1, Jesus Chirinos into P3, and I think Orimas Alga must have made a big mistake because it dropped already 5 positions. I think it just... Oh, there's been Pedro Lopez involved with John McDonald, and somehow they made to stay straight on the track and continue racing. John McDonald already up into P6. He overtook Richard Warners and took no prisoners after that. Now he's trying to look to the inside of Aurimas Alga has been sent into the wall by that, and he surely will not be too happy about it. Light move,
Caution!
and we have another caution coming out. I assume that it was the one in the mid pack. Yes, it was. It was Jonathan Holohan involved, and as well as Mendes, Jurgevicius, and there have been some more cars running without front wings. Tinan and Stadiatsik without a front wing. Yes, it is. So he's already also running without a front wing. Let's see what happened here. It basically is Holohan riding the wall and then losing it while trying to rejoin, isn't it? But I think he just has been sent there. No, he wasn't. He basically just lost it. Oh no, he lost it on his own and then spun in the middle of the pack. And basically everyone's gone into that as well. So we have another big one here at the Indy Motor Speedway. And quite a lot of drivers have been involved, and Carlos Frau said, thank you very much, I just take all of these positions and you guys do whatever you want to do. There's been more parts flying off. I think the car that was, I think these parts were still laying there from the crash that has happened a lap ago, of course. And there's been some SL racing car, there must have been Las Ortegas. Absolutely, yes, perfect. That's how you execute your safety car procedure. Congratulations to Las Ortegas and Martin Jacek, who sent some guys into a spin there. Now Jonathan Holohan also absolutely ignoring any sort of speed limit and now trying to end his suffering into turn 3 and the pit lane, of course, which opens up this lap. And none of the leading group is going... Is it actually opening this lap? It is, yes, absolutely. Thank you, Mark. None of the leading group is going to the pits, which is interesting, aside Lucas Miranda, who's trying to dive in for a quick pit stop. And of course all these guys who have to repair, which include Mendes, Holohan, Jacek. Delala has spun once again at the pit entry, at the wrong pit entry, by the way. Tinan has gone to the pits, and Carlos Frau is also going to the pits. That's odd, okay. Didn't expect that to happen. Yeah, so many wrecks to say that, Joey. Unfortunately, you are not part of them in any way. Anyways, quite a lot of action still going on, and despite all of these shenanigans, it looks like we will see the result very soon in the next few laps. We still have 20 laps to go on the clock, on the timer, sorry, and that's absolutely... Yeah, that's right. 20 laps to go, so 1/5 of the race to go, and we can see these guys exiting the pits. Oh, Moses Race just escaped at the very moment, and he ran into the wall without a rear wing. Where did he lose that? Okay, lost it on impact. Okay, he just escaped. He's just given up, unfortunately. So that's him out of the race, and that means and Carlos Frau is also retired. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, I'll try to catch up with them and see what happens in a moment's time.
User left your channel. User joined your channel.
Okay, so just had a quick word with Carlos Frau. He apparently had a disconnect, which is very unfortunate. But stuff happens in the end, you know. And we now see Andre Leiter leading the pack once again. He was there as well, and now he has not only his teammate but two C-Force racing cars right behind him to defend from for the final big stint of the race. The lights on the safety car are still on, so that means we will wait for another lap to get us going, and then it's just 18 laps to the end for all of these guys, and they are certainly looking forward to do that in a moment's time. As surely it's been quite demanding at this point, racing for 1 hour and 41 minutes behind the safety car. Isn't that easy, is it? And all the time you got excited for the restart, concentrated, you have to build up the concentration, and then another caution basically robs it. It's not very pleasant from what I experienced a while ago at my sole Indy 250 attempt. But that's why I'm commentating and not driving today. Anyways, lights are off on the safety car at the perfect timing to stop my previous commentary, and Andre Leiter is trying to get as much heat as possible into the tires, and so does his teammate Antonio Isaias right behind him. Is it Isaias actually? Just have to look it up. Sorry, it is with the white barge boards or the white front wing end plates. Easy to distinguish, hard to recognize if you're not into it. Anyways, Leiter in the number 33, always front row machinery, now trying to get us underway. He's now enabling the pit limiter, and that bunches everyone up right behind him, and then we are good to go at any moment's time. And they are going 4 wide back there because they were not aware of the procedure as usual. And we are now looking forward to see Andre Leiter getting us underway for the final stretch, hopefully, of this race. 18 laps to go. Hopefully 18 laps without any caution. And then we are basically done here at the Indy 250 at IVRC. And Leiter already hugging as much as to the inside as he can, and he accelerates now, and Isaias having good start. Of course, they are sitting in TeamSpeak together. Most likely they communicated with each other when they are going, and they already have created a small gap to wait. Where the hell has one of the C-Force racing cars dropped? Massively down the road. Anyways, Leiter, good start from him and the whole OS front row team that's up there. There's another OS front row car into the wall, and there's a spin, and that surely means no. Yeah, there's been another spin. Car flipping up down the road.
Yeah,
that
of course.
Tinan, and that causes another caution. I just jinxed it, didn't I, once again? And Tinan absolutely into the wall, but he's lucky to rejoin. Thank God about that. Let's see how that happened. So there's the OS front row car into the wall. Team Tempest Racing number 4. That's Arimas Auga losing the rear, and that basically... Oh, that didn't send Tinan spinning. It was Bernie Bruce who just plowed into the back of Tinan. Okay. Whoa, that's a majorly artistic jump. He should join the circus for that. Anyways, Tinan rejoining the track in a very slow fashion. I think he just spun once again, didn't he? Because he most likely has a flat spot. Yes, absolutely correct. And lost his rear wing as well. It surely doesn't help traction at all. And that means we are just watching another caution. But, you know, I said it many times before, and I will continue saying it. Yellows breed yellows. So Thomas Raschke has been down the order quite a bit. He's fallen down the order quite a bit. He was in P5, if I'm not wrong, and now he's in P6 once again. So he's fell asleep apparently at the side. Well, who is that in the white car? Is that John McDonald in P2? Where he certainly does not belong into, does he? Was he in P2 before? Let me see in the replay. When did the caution come out? John McDonald absolutely sneaking up into P2. I've totally missed that. Sorry, I take everything back I just said before. But he absolutely... flowed past the C-Force racing car right there, and now is back up into P2, he started there behind. No, wait. Actually, he started from pole position, of course. Just the game playing it wrong in some way, or at least me not realizing it was. Anyways, John McDonald started from pole position, and he's now eager to get back into it. See, once again, strategy playing out very well for him, while we wait for the safety car to lead us around for another lap. And McDonald now letting himself. Wait, he's passing. He let Isaias pass. Okay. If you're listening to me, John, please don't. Just take the position you think you belong into. Anyways, there's an overlap car coming flying past. That must have been. Sorry, I'll just look it up, just to make absolutely safe that I don't say it wrong. Diogo Tenan for 5-Star Racing. One of these guys that are new to that championship, and certainly not the most pleasant experience that he has. While Carlos Mendes, who's been absolutely roller coasting through that race, now into P18, and let's see, Anthony Delala in P16. I don't know why I'm saying Antonio, I'm sorry about that. Antonio Isaias is one of these Antonios around, so perhaps I'm getting confused there. Oh, what was that? Anthony Leiter going very far down on the apron in turn 1 and 2, but he rejoined in P1 where he actually belongs to, which is very good. Let's see if Kenan has made it to the back of the grid. Not yet, so that means we will most likely see another lap behind the safety car. And finally get us going once again for the final few laps of this very race. Anthony Leiter once again in the lead, and he's staying there just to be safe. And yes, once again he has his teammate behind him, who is Antonio Isaias, and they surely try to work once again together at the race start, and they now have the task to break away from John McDonald, who's shown his restarting abilities before, and will certainly try to stick as close as possible to these guys in front and set them under pressure as much as possible, and then see where he ends up. Of course, P1 is the target for everyone who's still going around, and everything can happen till the very end of the last lap. As we've seen so many times at the real life Indy event as well, in so many sim racing events that feature this race, and this time by as well. So if I have to set my money on someone, I would certainly don't pick anyone as the lights go out, just because everything can happen. That's what makes it so exciting. Anthony Leiter once again weaving as much as he can to keep the tires in heat for the restart. This time Andy Leiter ahead of Isaias and John McDonald, and then we have one C-Force racing car ahead of Toronto racing car, and then another C-Force racing car. Of course, they are also by far not out of the contention in any way, and so many cars flying into the order, and Bernie Roos absolutely, light touch right there. I think they get themselves sorted very soon. Anthony Leiter, however, leading us into the hopefully finally restart. 12 laps to go. Sorry, 13 laps to go. No, 12 laps to go at the very end of this lap. And then we are good to go, hopefully without any caution this time by. And the grid looks quite set for the remaining few laps. 9 cars still running. And let's see when these guys accelerate. Brazilian guys leading. And then we are finally back underway. Good start from Andy Leiter, who accelerates now, and he's trying to get a little bit of breathing space between himself and his caution. And another caution's already out. We've heard it here, and apparently the restart hasn't worked as good as it should have been. That means that he will most likely end not on the safety car, of course, but with only a few laps remaining. And what was that this time by? So the leaders haven't even accelerated at the point where Delara and someone else were setting off already. And then they were basically just spinning into the wall. Very unfortunate that one as well, especially for Jonathan Holohan, who's just trying to stay out of all of that and yeah, didn't have the best time, did he, so far? But yes. Constantin. Wait a second. Okay, you just overtook everyone at when the caution was called, and now he, of course, dropping back into his correct position, which is very, very good for him to do that, and absolutely fair. That's what we want to see. And now we are trying to resort the grid once again, as everyone's trying to flow into it. And Anthony Di Lara, Jonathan Holohan, basically coming back through to the grid. And let's see, Pablo Lopez, of course, in 11th, and Pedro Lopez in 10th. That's so confusing at this point. Thank God they were not in the front pack for the whole race, otherwise I would have been stumbled upon that even more often. But Pedro Lopez slightly down the Constantin, absolutely out of position at this point. I'm quite sure he doesn't even know where he belongs to. And there's been some kind of discussions going on between these few drivers. And I think they are... Oh, wow. That's been a wipeout if I've ever seen one under the safety car. Pedro Lopez has been spun around under the safety car. By whoever that was. I think it was... Tinan and someone else basically squeezing him into, and now Lopez has stalled it. He's out of the race, the championship leader at this point. He has also stalled it at after a spin, a violent spin at the... I just stated it's a takeout, and he's now been completely taken out of the contention. Jonathan Holohan, his teammate, exiting the pits meanwhile, but that means Pedro Lopez scoring no points today. That's absolutely disappointing after such a long and absolutely not the race that he deserves. Is his engine still running? No, it's not. He's absolutely gone, and he's just standing there waiting to get collected, and now he escaped. So that means no points for him either. Absolute massive shame. But good news for Pablo Lopez, the other Lopez basically, in terms of the championship standings. Wow, that's quite a turn of events in the last 10 laps. Didn't expect that to happen. But that being said, Underlighted crossing the finish line, which means that we indeed have only 10 more laps to go. Or is it 8 laps? Sorry, I'm getting confused at this point. Also getting slightly tired, gotta admit that. But after 2 hours of racing and commentating, I think that's fair enough to say that stuff like that can happen. Big shame though for Pedro Lopez, and Joey, absolutely right. Same thing happened to him, but then again, so we have seen so many spins today where that didn't happen at all, and definitely something we have to look into. We'll do that as soon as possible, and let's see. Anyways, lights and safety car still on, which means that we'll see another lap behind it, and then hopefully get going once again for the event, of course. Have you seen any pit stops that I just missed?
We were waiting for Richard Warners, but he escaped in the pit lane.
That's absolutely correct. Richard Warner's also out of the race. So that means one of the main win contenders gone basically, and that's quite of a huge turn of events as well. That basically opens up the door for the Brazilians and John McDonald right there in the top 3 positions, and they are looking forward to get going once again. Thank you, Mark, for spotting that. And he's absolutely not only the safety car driver, but absolutely good at spotting stuff today. Thank you so much. So, Brazilians in P1 and P2, followed by an Australian P3. That's going to be a very interesting restart, isn't it? Especially considering that it's just a few laps to go until the very end. Meaning that we will see most likely a sprint towards the end. Hopefully everyone got enough fuel in it to keep going until the very end, and enough tire life as well as the lights go out. Hopefully for the final time, lighting once again, trying to leave as much as possible. And I think once again they will use Isaias as some sort of block. Oh, there's been a spin. There's been a spin in the background, and yep, it's been one of the MPG competition cars. Can't figure out which one it was, but that means we will go under the safety car once again. I was slightly confused because I thought that I saw an O's front row car without front wing, but fortunately not, it wasn't. And let's see, Philip Holland has been just wiped out by some white car during the... Carlos Mendes, unfortunately, taken out Philip Holland right there. Philip Holland now at the very back of the field, but he is there still racing, and yes, as we can see, Mark Zwerker moved up into 23rd at this point. Yes, so we have seen he's 36 laps down. That means we have only seen 36 laps of clean racing so far, which is not as much as we all have hoped for, but still these 36 laps were quite great, and they will be a little bit more than 36 laps at the very end of the race, which means that we are going to be an exciting sprint towards the finish. Lights go out once again, so pits stay closed this time by, and we get going for the final 7 laps around the clock, or around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And Andre Leite weaving once again, and I think they have figured out some tactics to make it as easy as possible for Leite to break away. He's enabling the pit limiter now, and that's bunching up everyone else behind him, and no one else is aware of that. And that's another spin from Pablo Lopez, but he recovers it somehow. The order is a little bit messed up though. So yeah, race control got plenty of stuff to look at, and let's see, Max Zwerker is going into the pits, so that means we will have a restart this time by, and Andre Leite trying to defend as hard as possible from his teammate. And John McDonald, look out for the white car in third. He will absolutely be flying at least at the end of the first lap, and then we will see at the very end who's gonna be the winner. Is it one of the Brazilians? Is it even a Venezuelan, or someone we don't have on notice yet? Andre Leite keeps going, and he's got a good gap already, and he's trying to break the slipstream to Isaias as much as possible. So these guys are absolutely not working together at this point anymore. John McDonald, however, absolutely close to Isaias. There's a make a move into turn 2. Oh, slight touch between these guys, but Isaias is able to make it stick, and he's absolutely tried it. There's been Jose Miguel Moronta into the wall, but he spins out of the race as well.
Caution.
That means we will have another caution indeed. But tell you what, the O's front row guys will certainly be not too unhappy about that. Yes, they will, because they lost the lead already to... how did that happen? Into turn 2 they were going, into turn 3, John McDonald, he basically just sent both of them into the wall and said, hey man, and then...
What the fuck?
Huh? What's going on? Okay, apparently things get heated in the safety car as well. Let's say John McDonald absolutely just flying past the safety car. Interesting. But he's in the lead for the moment, and certainly trying to stay there after sending both OS front row cars at once into the wall. Absolutely full strike for him. We got another one of these guys in terms of Lucas Miranda and P5, so they are bunching up at the front with these black and orange cars, and McDonald trying to weave as hard as possible to get everything going. Well, let's see. Jose Miguel Moronta, has he retired? Or did he just go into the pits? You can't see from that angle. It looks like he just has gone into the pits. Yeah, he's exiting the pits right now. So that means he will be allowed to tap himself back once he has passed the hard finish straight. And that means that we have to wait 2 laps for the safety car to come in. So that means we will have a 2 lap sprint towards the end, if my maths are
Remember
correct.
that there are 3 other laps.
Yes, I do. It's lap 99 out of 103. Thank
Just
you very much.
saying.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, though. We have lap 99 of 103 with 2 more laps coming in. That means we will most likely see 2 laps sprint towards the finish, hopefully without any major caution, so we don't finish under yellow. And Miguel Moronta now exiting the pits. He's at the very end of the queue, and now everyone swerves to the left to let him by, and then we are hopefully good to go finally for the final stretch of this race so far. And quite a lot of messages in the chat. Let me quickly run through them. Richard Warner says no game crash. Oh no, that's absolutely bad news, isn't it? Heartbreaking, I want to say, in terms of his race pace. He was absolutely in there for a good shot. Yeah, so we can see now Jose Miguel Moronta has recorded the lap, just called that up and stream on the side note while watching the chat, and then we are finally at lap 100 out of 103, just to make things clear. 3 first laps were formation laps, and that means we will have 100 racing laps in the end. Lights on the safety car still on, so that means we will see another lap behind the safety car, as I said.
Followed in the pits.
Thank you. So that means we will most likely see even more time under caution. Philip Folland now exiting the pits, at least his pit spot, and then trying to catch up to the rear of the pack, which is now Jose Miguel Moronta at the very end, and now Philip Folland exiting the pits. So everyone's on the lead lap at least, and the grid is most likely sorted for restart at the end of next lap. Pedro Lopez, Lord, what happened to you, man? You stalled your engine, right? He just put that into the chat. Very unfortunate for you, of course, as well. So many retirements in the very last laps, which certainly doesn't help. Does it? Speaking of that, Pablo Lopez, who's currently second in the championship standings, is now into 7th, so he will score major points towards the Drivers' Championship. And John McDonald, who's now bunching up the field, and these 2 US front row guys, they're basically all South American bundle right behind him, is absolutely eager to get going. Carlos Mendes is in 6th as well, so the first non-South American to be there is Pablo Lopez in 7th. Absolutely good to see, though, International Virtual Racing Championship living up to its name. So lights on the safety car go out, and we will see a 2 laps sprint towards the finish, hopefully without any incidents and hopefully without any other cautions. And that means that John McDonald, once again in the number 41 Kanga Racing Machinery, the plain white livery, will lead us into the restart, and hopefully the final restart that is. So, yes, I can't believe that either, that John may actually win the race, but he's in for a good shot today. Everyone's bunching up so much, like we had so many restarts today. I hope for the next time we will see a little bit of improvement on that. But John McDonald, once again, he's trying to stay as calm as possible while Andre Knight is reading so much right there. And he's certainly Diogo Tenan apparently out of position, according to Pedro Lopez. Who knows? All of that will get solved at the very end of the race. John McDonald, however, is in first, and let's see when he is accelerating. He should do that anytime soon. Let's put the HUD on to see that exactly. And absolutely no one's caring about...
Caution.
I mean, yeah, that was quite quite obvious. Who restarted this time without even caring about the leader's pace? Let me see. I think, without any judgment, it must have been one of the C-Force racing cars, wasn't it? Yes, it was. The question is, however, which one it was. And now he just fully braked on the main straight. Very interesting technique to start to a major caution. And yes, absolutely unbelievable, Pedro. You're absolutely right on that. But Anthony Lala is currently earning a second on that note. I'm, however, quite sure that it does not belong there. I don't know how I got that impression, but that's what I would say from what I've just seen. Without a front wing. So we will end the race in the caution and with a questionable winner in terms of putting these guys into the wall. But here it is. John McDonald finally going for the last lap here around the Brickyard for the first time of the IVRC Indy 250, and questionable winner in terms of are these guys racing, or do we still have the caution?
There is a caution.
Okay, it is very interesting because we can see Constantin moving for P1, and now he just goes around the outside. Very interesting. What is going on? I think some drivers are confused about the procedure right at this point. Questionable winner in terms of putting the always front row cars into the wall and then basically being into P1. But then again, we will see at the very end what's going on. There's been some guy into the wall. John McDonald is, however, currently leading the pack behind the safety car across the start-finish line. So he's the unofficial inaugural winner of the race, ahead of Andre Leite and Antonio Sayas in P2 and P3 for Brazil for us front row racing. And we've seen so many things going on. I'm absolutely not even sure anymore what the correct order is. There's Anthony De Lara in 4th, Carlos Mendes in 5th. He was in 6th before the restart, so that's fairly reasonable to say. Arimas Auga finished in 6th ahead of Martin Jacek, Jesus Chinas, Lucas Miranda and Bernard Roos. Okay, let's wrap this up finally. It has been quite a hectic event, not to say the least, in most of the terms, like very interesting race in terms of most of these times. We have seen caution, which was very unfortunate. Sorry? Mark.
Sorry.
Okay, never mind. Then again, we've seen so many weird things going on. It's absolutely chaotic, and I think race control will certainly be not too pleased about doing their job today, are they? Anyways, it has been still good fun, and all the racing action that we have seen was absolutely stoking brilliant, and I'm certainly looking forward to the next oval race that we're gonna do. Thank you all for bearing with me today. OWC returns on June 28th at this very circuit, but the GP variant out of it, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. Then we're also gonna have bear with me. We're gonna have the JTC, I think. No, sorry, the TCC as the next very big event, regular season event. That should happen in 2 weeks' time. That's absolutely correct. In 3 weeks' time, on June 27th, 28th, as OWC returns as well, and then we're gonna start the American Endurance Championship, which is of course inspired by a very big American Endurance series, and we are looking forward
User
to
left your
see
channel
that on July 12th, and then we'll see at each other hopefully then. It has been my pleasure, and I hope to see you all again for the next one in 3 weeks' time.